Sit down and listen while we speak. It's time for us to spill the tea. Tea for you and tea for me. Building a big old family tree. Just us. Tea for two and two for tea. Building a big old family tree. Yeah, yeah. Just us. Yeah.
Just us.
And we're back. Thanks for coming back, guys. This is Just Us. I'm Rodney.
I'm Quee.
And so, Quee, you look relaxed. You look, you know what they say, relax, relate, release.
Yes.
Okay. So we just got back from a short vacay.
Yes.
Pretty good.
It was fun.
Where'd you go? Or where did we go?
So we ultimately ended up in Cabo for a few days, but by way of Royal Caribbean, we are cruisers. So we had a great time. We got a chance to do some water things, and we did a great city tour of Cabo and surrounding areas. We just had a wonderful short vacation.
A getaway.
A
much needed getaway.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're able to do it, please do it because, you come back refreshed, rejuvenated, energized, all that. It was a good time away, just the two of us.
Yes.
Nobody else, no kids, nothing else. And so it was a good time to, reconnect and just relax, no agenda. Know where we had to be, needed to be. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty good.
And to me, that was probably the best part about it, was that we were able to do what we want to do at our own pace.
Right.
There were nights, and so we have always cruised Royal Caribbean, right? And so every night they have you dress up, you go to the dining hall or to Chops Grill or whatever other specialty restaurants you want to go to. But there were a few nights we did not go to dinner. We ordered room service. We just hung out. We
did
slept.
Our thing.
It was good not to have an agenda. And so oftentimes when we go on vacations, there's always, okay, we got to do this. And it's more, in a way, it's more stressful of having to meet all these things than versus just kind of not
being
having
free.
an agenda. Yeah.
Being free.
So I enjoyed it.
And so I did too. However, while we was away or in the ocean or whatever, it seemed like U.S. started blowing up on us.
Yeah, the world just started getting crazy.
Well, crazier, right?
Yeah.
So we already know, who's in office and everything that's surrounding that. But so while we're out, let me stop right there. So yes, we was, as Quee said, on a vacay, Cabo. There is video of that. We took you guys along for the journey. You'll be able to see some of that as well. But while we're out there and, in the middle of the ocean or whatever, then we start hearing about all this stuff going on in L.A.
Mind you, we flew to L.A. to catch the ship, right, to go to Cabo. So, yeah, it's like all hell broke loose in LA was it the 405 or whatever highway? I don't know, but it was
the protest was in downtown LA.
Downtown.
Yes, we had to travel the 405,
right?
But it was not like the news. Some of the news was trying to make it seem like it was all over LA. It was a very small, centralized area part of LA where we was not near, but they try to make it seem, I think, bigger than what it was.
Of course, and you know why.
Oh, well, yeah.
There's an agenda.
Yeah, of course. There's always an agenda.
Right.
Right? But then what? So you have that going on. Then, of course, we touch back down. It's still kind of going on, escalating, whatever. And then we hear the words of this whole what parade and this whole no kings protest of the parade,
Yes.
and all of this going around. Not now, what started in L.A. is now what
All
nationwide.
All over the United States. This past
Big numbers.
Yeah. This past Saturday was a big movement for the protests. Even here in little bitty old McKinney, Texas. I mean, it was a lot of people. Of course, we didn't participate or go, but it was a lot of people in the Target shopping lot area that at first when I passed it, I was like, what's going on? But then I started reading the signs and I'm like, oh my goodness. And I realized this has people talking. People are not happy. People are mad. And rightly so should they be.
Well, and so it's of course behind his policy or new policy with this whole immigration fiasco that he's doing and cherry picking and on who should stay and not stay and who should get due process and who shouldn't get due process and who has rights and who doesn't have rights, and it's just chaos. But at the same time, it seems like we have seen this playbook before. Something happens, orchestrated chaos, or something that he has pulled up to create chaos, and then people protest, but then it dwindles down.
Nothing
then they build
happens.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so where we go from here.
I don't know. That's the hardening part about it because, as people, as human beings, I this is how I kind of look at it. As human beings, we should have compassion for one another. We should have love for one another. We should have the mind frame of helping your neighbor. Whenever there's a tragedy, so for instance 9/11, right?
Okay.
The tornadoes, earthquakes, all those natural disasters are man-made disasters happen in the land of the United States. People come together. People, I don't care who you are, your background, your denomination, your native language, whatever. Everybody come together to help each other in need. Okay? And this is how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to love one another. We're supposed to help one another. When there's a need, we should be able to, regardless if I know you or not, if someone has a need and I could fulfill it for them, that's what we're supposed to do, right? Well, but in this case, with the current administration and the things that's happening, it's just really horrible. We're experiencing the blatant racism, the division, the lies on top of lies, the discourse. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And me personally, it really grieves me. I watch the news because I'm over 50, but however, I sometimes have to step away from it because I start feeling really not depressed, but just sad that, people are being treated in a way that I know is wrong. And so if you as a human being don't feel some type of, if you don't have some kind of feeling towards that, something, you need to rethink who you are. Something's not right.
I don't know. You said a lot, so let's chop it up. So first, you talk about man-made disasters and natural disasters. We're talking about, I think, different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of those things being the fact that, this is the creation of or the result of a policy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's created or established or whatever that didn't have to be, right? So it's not like, we were attacked unjustifiably is not like or a natural disaster. This was something that someone decided to do out of their own agenda and their own ideology and create something that makes no sense to isolate, to oppress a certain community of folks,
Right.
For various reasons. That's number one. Number two, I think that while yes, folks feel a certain way, and everyone has their own opinion. I don't know. All fights are not my fight. All fights are not our community fights, and I don't know how much of a fight this is of for us.
I see where you're going, and I understand that, because I do kind of in a way believe that too. Every battle is not a battle I need to get involved with.
Pick your
I
battles.
get that. However, if one group is targeted, other groups will be targeted. And so, yes, there is something.
Well, other groups would be targeted, but does that mean that all groups will stand up for that one group? Because that hasn't always happened.
You're right. You are right. However, if we're looking at it on a Christian perspective, okay, right? What the word says, God demands that we should love our neighbor. We support our neighbor, take care of one another, right?
Okay.
Okay. So it may not be our battle to get into what's going on now. And when I say our, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Right?
What?
Black people.
Okay.
Like,
Just
this
put
is
it out
targeting
there.
Latin Americans.
Well, it's not just targeting Latin Americans, right? It's targeting people of color,
people
right?
of color,
That
of
could
other
be
ethnicities, et cetera.
Latin Americans. It can be Haitians.
Right.
It can be folks from the continent of Africa, etc.
Right. But I still say that if one group of people is targeted, then we all are targeted.
I get that.
And so, do I need to go stand on the corner and have a sign up? I'm not going to do that. I'm not saying, and for me, I look at it as just, and when I make that statement, don't get me wrong. I know that we have to stand up and we have to, show,
Well, I think we did stand up, and I think we did do our part when we got in that voting booth.
Yes, I agree with that.
So I think that our community stood up. I think our community stood 10 toes down, on business, whatever the sayings, however it goes, by the percentages. Yes, I think that happened. And that's where you let your voice be heard. Now, I do have to question, and I do wonder when I see the size of the crowds that was across the U.S., across this nation, in various cities on Saturday, and in locations, thousands upon thousands of people. If all of those people went to the voting booth, and if all of those people voted, and if all of those people voted, would we be here today?
That's a good point. Many of them probably did vote. Now, did they vote the way that probably we voted? Probably not, but they chose, if they voted for him that's currently in office,
Right.
They voted for the person they thought was best for the job.
Well, sure. And they voted for his policies, his
at that
procedures,
time,
and
as far as what they knew.
So don't be shocked or surprised if you made that choice. Stand by your choice and live with that vote. Voting has consequences.
But I also think people who did vote for him, many probably did not think, one, that he would go to this limit, or two, that it would affect them.
Well, that's what's funny because it was outlined what he was going to do. It's in Project 2025. It's various now commentators and political analysts said what was going to be taking place. Even his own people in his own administration were saying how they were going to this was going to unfold, and so it's unfolding before your eyes. And not only is it unfolding before your eyes, but if you look at history and comparing this to other books in history, it happens. You know, someone go and read The Administration of Evil, and how Germany was able to do what they did in during World War II.
Absolutely.
And before. And you'll see it unfold. So I don't know, but I do agree with you as far as, you know, should we be more compassionate, understanding, loving of one another? Absolutely.
I mean, we have to, because, you know, like, you know, you hear people throw the word Christian. I'm a Christian. You know, it's great to say that word because, you know, that's the thing that many Americans, you know, believe that they are in the Christianity faith, right? But that's just not just a word. It's a walk. It's a lifestyle. It's a living. It's a commitment to how Christ lived.
Right.
And you can't just throw that word just to be able to get some kudos behind it. Right. I'm a Christian. Oh, great. Wow.
Right.
What does that mean? Especially when your values don't line up with Christ.
Or your walk.
Or your walk.
What you show outwardly.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so, you know, when you think about what's going on in the world, these people who have been, I'm going to say captured, who have been stolen, right? And sent to these places, the camps or whatever you want to call them, where they're going.
You're going into prisons. You're talking about the Venezuela. Right.
These people are humans.
Well, of course.
They have families. They are working. They are trying to put food on the table for their children. And it's like being stolen in the middle of the night.
Well, yes, but so the big thing is, you know, and I don't know, right, if they have criminal backgrounds or not. But the issue is, right, if you think you have a legal basis to remove these individuals from this country, okay, fine. Then let them have their day in court. Let them have their due process, go through the system, not just snatch them. Some people were just snatched up off the street,
Absolutely.
Right? Families taken apart, kids pulled apart, people just walking down the street, and then folks jump out on them and they're whisked away, right? No due process, no voice, no right to be heard, it appears, and being then deported somewhere, and no one knows where they are,
right,
and what happened to them. That is fundamentally, legally, morally wrong. Give these individuals their time to have their say in court and defend whatever allegation that you have brought against them. And let the courts make the determination based on the evidence. I mean, that is the way it should be done. That's the way it has always been done. And now that's not what's occurring. And that's what is having the people protest, right?
Yeah.
That is what's upsetting the folks, right? If you have folks that are legitimately, you know, criminals that should have never been in here or done something while they've been here and committed a crime, and okay, now it's time for you to be deported after you have served your time or whatever, that's one thing versus not telling anyone anything and just snatching them up.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
And that's wrong. You and there have even been cases where people have papers where they should be here, right?
Right, and they just get,
but they're just
Right,
like,
exactly,
nope, come
exactly.
on,
And
let's
you
go.
going, the word was what? Oh, we're going after the bad folks, the
Right.
criminals, etc. But now we see that you're grabbing, people off of college campuses, people
Right.
walking down the street, people who are, at the Home Depot parking lot, and people on their job, and you're running through fields trying to capture them, and it's just madness and mayhem.
Yes.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg in this short period, 5 months or whatever it's been since the second term has started. And just the tip of the iceberg.
And that's the scary part, because we still have 3 more years with this person in the White House. And, like, can you imagine what the next 3 years are going to look like?
Well, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
But, unless this thing changes around, and the people, change this thing around, or they have a change of heart or something. I don't know.
Well, I'm not going to say that won't happen, because I believe that people can, be enlightened and God can touch their heart. But this person's history does not show that. And so, but not only that, now you have the man who just murdered these, officials in Minnesota over
Political
political
assassination.
assassination. And so it's like, okay, wow. So we've gone to that. Like
We're past the extreme. We're
yes.
past right.
Yeah.
Where it should
which
be.
is scary for anybody who is in politics, local or
Well, sure, local,
federal
state, or
government,
federal.
whatever.
I mean, we have, being able to agree to disagree
Right.
is perfectly fine. Having, political discussions and disagreements is totally fine. That's what how the system is built. And
Yes.
that's why you have elections. And, like we say, elections have consequences. We understand that. But folks can't become judge and jury in their own mind and then act on, what crazy notions they may have. No matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, and that is wrong across the board. And nowhere is that justifiable. Nowhere is that should take place against whoever's in power.
Yeah.
And whoever is, leading the country or the state or local or whatever the case may be. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's the scary part, because, now, this has happened. It can happen in other places now.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I'm sure people, somebody nut have been thinking about, who they can target now.
Well, sure. I mean, and we know that isn't that the political assassinations. This is not the first time this happened. Of course, our history in this country, but it still doesn't. There is no justification, period, bar none.
Yeah.
For any acts like that. So now that we see where we are, right? How do we, for the regular voters, for the regular folks that they want to have a voice, that don't have a voice. I mean, what do we do?
Well, I think we all have a voice. It's whether or not we use it. And you said earlier about, people took their action in voting. But even in our own communities, everybody in our own communities didn't vote.
That's
and many people in our own communities voted the other way. And so it's kind of like, you can't tell people how to vote.
Well, no.
But, if you expect something different, you got to do something different. Right?
Sure.
And so I think people should really take in heed, what can I do to change the situation? Well, number one, start going to your local school board meetings,
city council meetings,
right?
Making
get
your
involved.
voice known, get involved.
Yes.
With action committees, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with protest, peaceful
Yes.
protest.
This is the
absolutely.
thing, though. Many have been peaceful.
Oh, sure.
They have been
The
peaceful.
majority of what occurred on this weekend across this country was well organized,
Right.
peaceful demonstrations, peaceful protests, nonviolent actions, which is the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
Right, making your voices heard in the masses. Now, what do you do with that? Right? How do you organize? How do you galvanize moving forward?
Right. And really, to be honest with you, start really in your own family.
Well, it was an excellent demonstration of democracy. It's an excellent demonstration of take this, and those who are not registered to vote,
yes,
get voters registrations out there. Have a plan of action, right? If they don't like the direction of this country, have a plan of action for the next election and who should be voting. But all elections, that they say, it's all politics is local. I think that's the saying.
Yeah.
So okay, we're looking at the national stage, but what about the local stage?
Absolutely.
Who you putting in office locally?
And what we do, we make sure to go vote. I want to vote for sheriff, the mayor, all these people, because these are the people that really affect me, like individually.
Sure.
Right.
So
you have to not only look at who's running for president in the Senate and Congress. You got to look at your local stuff too, because that at the top, it trickles down, but that local stuff, that's what's more important.
That has the immediate effect on the household,
right?
On your schools,
right?
On what's happening in your community and what happens in your neighborhood, and
and even like speaking of neighborhood, that's another good way. Get to know people. Now I know Rodney Patton is not one that will go outside and meet his neighbors.
Listen.
Come on.
I wave to my neighbors from afar. I say hey from afar, or if I don't raise a hand, you
say it with your heart
and a head nod.
Well, unlike him, I do talk to my neighbors.
You never meet a stranger.
Yeah, I don't. But it's interesting to hear what people say, what people are thinking, because everybody is entitled to their opinion, the reason why they feel the way they feel. And I never disregard people's feelings in that. But it's nice to hear what other people, the reasons why other people may have voted for this person.
Everyone has a different point of view.
And doesn't make them wrong. It's just, now here we are. So like I said, for us, it's very important that we vote. We taught our children to vote, our oldest sons, they go vote. And, it's important that, you are a contributing factor to society, especially if you can go vote.
Sure. Well, getting mad after the fact does nothing when you had the opportunity to make your voice known.
Yeah.
Right. So at that point after the fact it is, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Well, that's neither here nor there. So now you're in the stage of, okay, what can I do now to organize and turn this ship around? Yeah. And that takes, even more work than simply voting in the first place.
Right. Well, is it next year is another election for the House representative? I think it is coming
on
up.
a federal, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
we just had a bunch of local elections. So hopefully folks got out and did their part.
So that would be a great start because, that person has the White House, the House, the Congress, and the Senate.
Well,
so
we'll see.
We get out there and vote.
You made a good point of going back here a little bit. You made a good point about love, and what does love have to do with, all of this? I guess. How should we be looking at it?
I think that if we are followers of Christ, right, truly followers of Christ, where we know God is not pleased God is not pleased with what's going on in our society. But he give us free will, right? And he allows us to make the decisions that we make. But if we're going to talk about, I stand for Jesus, we got to. There's a scripture that comes to mind, Luke. I have my Bible here. Luke chapter 6, 35 through 36. Let me see if I can get this to open.
You have it marked?
I do have it.
You have it highlighted?
Yep. Well,
Read.
I have the highlighted Bible.
Oh.
So
can I do it like old school church? Read.
I'm paper Bible safe. I like my Bible.
That's a paper. Okay, go ahead. I won't even comment.
Luke 6, 35 to 36. It says, love your enemies, do good to them, and lend to them without expecting to get anything back. Then your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High, because he is kind to the ungrateful and wicked. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful to you.
And what do you get out of that, and how do you apply that?
Well, what we get out of that is, we have to show grace and love to other people. We cannot be a society that only cares about ourselves. Christ died for us. He loved us so much until he gave up his life for us, for our sins, so we could have a chance to have everlasting life,
right.
Salvation. And so if we apply this, regardless of who it is, how they treat us, what they do, we still have to love. And if we apply as humans, as Christians, right? If we apply love, and I don't even want to just say Christians, I mean people in general. If we love one another and we treat one another right and care truly about each other, this kind of stuff that's going on in the world right now would not happen. Because what we see right now is not based on love at all.
So showing love or showing grace as you want grace shown unto you.
Absolutely. Like, do you know that what if God took his grace away from us? Where would we be? What if God decided, you know what? I'm tired of being merciful to them. I'm going to let them handle it on their own. Where would we be? We would not be.
A pit of trouble.
Yes. So, I understand the fact that, sometimes it's hard being loving. Sometimes.
Or showing love, right.
I get it. But when we really think about what Christ did for us, and if we really want to understand, relationships and how God really honors that, God wants us to be kind to one another. And when you think about what's going on in the world right now, we're not being kind. I think about, like the homeless, right? You have homeless people you have truly homeless people who have nothing. And for you to not have some kind of in your heart for them, even just saying a prayer for them, or reaching in your pocket and giving your last $2, right? That's showing mercy. That's showing kindness, grace, love. We have so many opportunities to do this. God sets it up sometime for us to do it. And sometimes we pass the test, and sometimes we don't.
Well, all of that is true because everyone is different.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has a different way of seeing things and the different beliefs, different opinions. But at the end of the day, it still comes back to love.
It all comes back to love.
Yeah, and compassion.
Because that's God is love. He's love. And so I can't just go around, picking and choosing who and how I'm going to show my love if I'm truly a follower of Christ.
Right.
So I don't know. It's a lot that's going on in our world right now, and all parts of the world. You got Israel now fighting with Iran, and just every corners of the world is something going on. right? And it comes down back to the word of God.
But it has always been, something going on,
Mm-hmm.
right? Ever since the days of Christ, right? There's always been wars and rumors of wars. So there's always been those with, those without, the haves and the have-nots. And I think that will always be the case. But we have to decide and we have to choose how we respond, how we
Right.
want to act, how we want to exist in this world,
Right.
and how we want to treat one another in this world, whether you have or have not. That is a choice as
Right.
to how to be kind, how to love, and whether you agree or disagree. We can agree to disagree. We're human, and we're not going to always see eye to eye on every subject, on whether it's religion, political, whether it is just common everyday situations. And that's just the nature of it. But it doesn't have to be vile. It doesn't have to be
Right.
nasty. It doesn't have to be evil. It doesn't have to create a spirit of oppression and separation that has been going on for far too long. And that's the key to it all. And yeah, I think I agree with you. There has to be more compassion and love for your fellow man.
And when you don't have that, then the enemy just love it. He
Well, of
rejoices in
course,
that. He wants us to not love one another.
of course,
He wants
of
the
course. Every
the
little crack,
conflict.
every little seam
Yes.
in the armor, it gives him an avenue, gives
Right.
him a way into your heart, into your mind, into your daily walk. Absolutely, absolutely. And so it is a fight every day between good and evil, whether
Right.
you believe it or not. It's a fight every day of spiritual warfare every day. But if you are a believer in Christ, if you are a follower of Christ, then there's something to say about the way we treat one another. It's something
Right.
to say about our character, our integrity from within, and walking in that light.
And like even now, like if you have something in your heart that you're harboring towards your brother or sister or whomever, ask God to like work on that for you, because you can't do it on your own.
No.
Right. So ask God to, Lord, I have this thing with this person or against this person. I don't want that in my heart. Change my heart. Change my mind. Put love in me. Make me compassionate for others. God will do it. He will do it. I believe that. And that's exactly how we have to live our life. So I don't know. Like I said, that we will always have something going on in this world, but
Always.
it's how we respond to it. And we don't have to respond the way people who do not know Christ respond.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. So that this is just our opinion,
yes.
our thoughts as to the latest events, right? Of what's going on, what's been on the news and around the globe. But tell us your thoughts. Share what you think. And we're always open minded and have an open ear to hear and to listen. Join the conversation. So why don't you do us a favor? Like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and tell us what you would like to see more from us, and what topics you would like to hear from us, and join the conversation. So that's all I have. So until next time,
Be
be blessed.
blessed.